Welcome to Pro Practice, your guide to piano mastery. I'm Josh Wright, and today's episode is based on one of the lyric pieces by Grieg. He wrote 10 volumes of lyric pieces, and he wrote other character pieces afterward. But after the 10th set, he said, pretty much enough is enough. This is from Opus 71, the last set. I believe this was published in 1901. His 10 volumes span from 1886 to 1901, and this is perhaps his most famous lyric piece. Maybe the Nocturne is up there, and I've covered that in another Pro Practice video. This is called Puck. Puck is a character in folklore that denotes kind of a trickster demon or fairy figure, and there's a lot of different references to such characters. If you just even look on Wikipedia, there's a bunch of different references of different instances of this character in literature. And I want to play a bit of this first part. You're going to see that trickster characteristic present throughout the piece, especially by use of articulation, dynamic extremes, rests, accents. So let me go ahead and I'm going to play this really slowly to begin with, and then I'll play a little faster tempo, and then we'll talk about that crazy metronome marking. So I'll just go ahead and we'll warm up with just a slower tempo. Okay, that's the first page. If I was performing this, I would probably take it around this tempo. Okay, that is around about 130. On the score, it has 176 for the half note, which is about here. And I don't think the piece sounds good. It no longer kind of has that trickster quality to it. To me, that just sounds frantic and rushed. I think it loses a lot of the character. So you can obviously take whatever tempo you feel most inclined to take, but I think around that 130 marking. And you could probably push that up. That's 150. So it's up to you what you want to do, but don't feel bad if you are an intermediate player and you're around this tempo. Because through the use of dynamics and really effective articulation, you can still present a very compelling rendering of this piece, a really compelling performance. So without further ado, let's just jump into some of the basics. In this tutorial, we're going to go over a lot of detail in regards to dynamics and articulation, voicing, character, and many other things, but I want to just start with a couple of fingering suggestions. I personally like 1, 2, 5, 3, 2, 1. But an alternate fingering is 2, 1, 4, 2, 1. That's also very comfortable. A little note of assistance, if you're going to use 1, 2, 5, 3, I would come out, pull back a little bit on that, and then go forward on these. That will help the hand to really feel solid on the third. I've heard students play this and they kind of mush the third. They go, and it doesn't feel solid. If you assign a bigger muscle to help you with that, like the whole arm moving in and out just slightly, I mean, these are very slight motions, that really helps to keep things solid. Another thing that you can do, this is just a practice method. You don't want to get too heavy into this, but you can think up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Anytime you play a third, like if I'm teaching a student little like Schmidt exercise or something like that, and we're playing thirds, students again tend to do that, and those little miniature bounces help to really keep everything totally aligned. So even when you're playing in full tempo, you can almost think of throwing to the top. So it's almost like its own little separate motion. And that will keep that really together and aligned with that third. One other little trick that I want to talk about is voicing intervals. So we've gone over voicing extensively on my YouTube channel, but in case you've missed it, what I like to do, one of my favorite things to do, is to practice legato and forte on the melody and staccato and piano on the accompaniment. So, I mean, this is pretty much all melody, but especially when we get to these thirds, it sounds a lot better if you bring out that top note rather than kind of like a dead weight. It's a bit more crisp that way. So you can practice trying to be really soft on that bottom voice, okay? And fingering, again, is up to you. If you like to do 5-3-3-1, you could just switch your hand position down to 5-3-3-1. Because you're jumping and bouncing with these staccatos, if your hand's more comfortable 1-3-5, go for it. If you like 4-2-2-1, that's also an option, but always make sure that you bring out that top note. Okay, let's talk for a moment about staccatos in the left hand.